Hey everyone, Genevieve here to talk about our upcoming full moon in Sagittarius, and this is going to be very early on Wednesday morning, East Coast time. So we're going to jump right in. Of course, this is the strawberry moon, and if you don't live in an area, where strawberry grows, they're popping up. We've got wild strawberries in our yard, so it's a good weekend or a good week to go strawberry picking, all right? So get that one out of the way. Also, just a reminder, my full moon Sagittarius blend is called Breathe, and it is a special this month. Also, just real quickly before I get into the chart reading, and I apologize beforehand. We had a very physically draining but emotionally positive weekend. And so I'm a little bit tired today, a little bit struggling, but there were a lot of festivals going on. Yes, even in the small state of Delaware, there's always something to do, always festivals, always events that are worthy of checking out. And so we kicked off Thursday night with a metal mead festival in Milton, and we wrapped up Saturday was our Pride Festival in Dover, and then I also had to work. So without further ado, let's get into this reading, because this is just like our Gemini new moon a couple of weeks ago. This is mostly going to be positive. Now, it may appear when you see the charts that I share in the comments under my video that there are some difficult challenges here. Well, first of all, of course, Sagittarius is a fire sign and Gemini is an air sign. So you would think that this chart would be pretty airy and light. On paper, it does not look that way. We do have mostly aspects in fire and water with this chart, which a lot of times, when you look at it, well, water cancels out fire, right? But this is actually really good supportive energy emotionally and also passionately, okay? And kind of to get things done. So again, let's jump right in. The organs that are associated with the full Sagittarius moon are your liver, thigh and tailbones, hip muscles and joints, and also the lumbar region muscles and bones, okay? So just be careful of those, be a little bit extra protective of those. We do have 5 aspects to earth signs and only 4 to air with this chart. So, of course, looking at the chart, a full moon, the sun and the moon are always in opposition, okay? But it's not really that much of a challenge. And there are a few challenges in this chart, but there's a lot of support to overcome those challenges. So we have moon in Sagittarius. Oh, I'm sorry, let me get back to the sun. Of course, is the opposite. The moon is conjunct Jupiter, and Jupiter is in Cancer. So this is going to overall bring optimism, generosity, and energy that helps inspire others, okay? So keep doing what you're doing with that generosity, with the giving, and staying bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and optimistic. Other people are going to notice that, be inspired by your actions at this time. So the moon is in Sagittarius. So there's a safety in our philosophy at this time and our missions that gives our life meaning. Okay, so you want to, basically this energy is really good for pouring that energy, emotional energy into your mission and purpose in life, which a lot of times with the Sagittarius energy is meant to help fight dogmas, right? Help break down strict traditional belief systems. Okay, so we're going to have some energy supporting us to do that. We have a trine with Mars and Leo, which of course they're both fire signs. So this is great. This is going to give us all some confidence to take initiative, okay, and to be kind. This is being assertive but not aggressive energy, all right? This is really helping us to stand our ground, but in a compassionate way. And then there is an opposition with Jupiter, but this is actually not terrible. It's a little challenging, but you might feel a pull between emotional security or wanting to be emotionally secure and a desire for growth and adventure. So either way, like that, there might be a little tension there, But again, overall, this is going to help reinforce that ability to uplift and inspire others. Okay. Now, with Mercury in Cancer, this leads to a very sensitive, gentle, heart-based communication around this time. Okay. We're going to want to take some time over this full moon to help process or to try to process difficult conversations and conflicts. But we have that support, that sensitive and gentle emotional support at this time. There is a sextile to Venus in Taurus, which is really probably the best aspect of this chart. This is just, again, highlighting the intuitive and graceful communication style. Careers in teaching and nurturing are certainly highlighted under this aspect. It just really helps with supportive relationships at this time. Okay, so seek those out, or you have them. Like, just take the time to enjoy those. All right. Now, we do have a conjunction with Jupiter in Cancer. Of course, a conjunction because Mercury and Jupiter are both in Cancer, so that means they're right next to each other. And again, it's going to highlight that love of learning, idealistic thinking, challenging conventional styles, and it highlights big picture thinking. But this is not challenging in an aggressive way. This is very gentle, just loving kind of communication style with that. There is a square with Saturn in Aries. So this might bring a little bit of self-doubt and restraint. Also, a tendency for us to be way overly critical of ourselves. We're not really projecting it on others at this time, but like, ease up off of yourself, right? At this time, this is the time to nurture and support and to heal. So do the inner work, and there is absolutely energy and aspects here that are going to support you in doing so. This does lead to very logical and strategic thinking, though. So again, if you are having difficult with those emotions, well, logically, strategically work that out. Like, do the inner work. This is not an outward thing to do at this time, and you're going to go inward to do this. There is a square with Neptune and Pisces, so we do want to be careful in confusing our feelings with actual facts, right? And that's, again, being that overly critical on yourself. Sometimes we might have a little struggle articulating our feelings at this time. But so the way to overcome that, and there is some energy supporting this, it's just keep yourself anchored in reality, right? Like, write down your feelings. Feelings are absolutely valid. If you need to journal about them, this is, I feel this, but also write down the evidence and the facts that support that maybe your feelings are not accurate, or you might be overblowing some things, okay? Now, Venus is in Taurus, loves being in Taurus, very grounded, sensual energy, loyal, in relationships, physical touch and comfort highlighted at this time. And we talked about that trine with Mercury. There is a square with Pluto and Aquarius here, but this is not all bad. This is not all squares are necessarily bad. And this is one that's not, it's challenging, but it's not awful. So the biggest, the harshest aspect here is we want to watch for jealousy and controlling behavior, okay? But this energy also adds to passionate and intense connection and help with that inner emotional work that we need to do. All right. Again, Mars is still in Leo. Mars loves being in Leo. We talked about that during the Gemini full moon. And Mars is trining the moon. We just talked about that. It is sextile Jupiter and Cancer. So this is exactly going to highlight enthusiastic and energetic pursuit of goals. So that's where that fire energy is coming in. Very physically active time, also mentally active. So study is highlighted. Very joyful, playful energy with this, okay? There is a square with Uranus and Taurus, which may feel a little bit stifling to that if your routine is starting to become just too predictable. And so then there's a tendency to rebel against that a little bit of restless energy associated with that. Be careful, be on guard for being a little erratic, blindly pursuing your goals one minute and then just unpredictably changing and radically changing course. That there is a tendency for that, so just be on guard for that. Really try to think things through. Like, if you've been working so hard to this one goal, don't like, I mean, there may be a valid reason for you to do so, but really try to think it through. If you just all of a sudden either get discouraged or something, there's an obstacle or a challenge, and you just drop everything you've been working on and going off a completely different course, be on guard for that. It's not always a bad thing. Maybe it's needed, and Uranus and Taurus is going to shake things up and make you do some unpredictable things sometimes, okay? Jupiter is in Cancer. So Jupiter in emotional Cancer isn't always the most, it might not feel like the most, how do I put this, fastest way to get things done. It might feel like it's a little bit throwing, rain on your parade a little bit, but it does lead to certain things that are maybe something we need to be on guard for, of being overly people-pleasing, overly sensitive. And it also is really going to affect people or bring out challenges sometimes with a relationship with mother or family unit. So some people might be really struggling with this during this full moon phase. So, just be on guard for that. You can be somebody else's mama if they look like anyone, okay? I do it all the time. So there is a square to Saturn in Aries. Jupiter in Cancer is square Saturn in Aries. So this is probably the biggest challenge of this full moon a few days, but it's not as harsh as it may first appear. So again, you might feel torn between expansion and risk taking and playing it safe. So this energy, we need to really try to learn how to balance that and be a little bit more courageous in our pursuit of things without losing our stability and our grounding at this time, okay? Again, write those goals out, journal, and write down your risk versus reward. Like, what is the worst possible thing that could happen if the risk that you take does not pan out for you? All right. Jupiter is also square Neptune. So this is similar to that square with Saturn, but we want to watch out between blurring the lines between idealistic goals and growth, and practical and realistic ones, okay? This also, the good thing out of all of this, though, is it's going to lend to some compassionate, service-oriented energy, all right? So if you've always wanted to join a cause, maybe volunteer, do it from a place of love and connection and heartfelt feelings, this is a great time to do that. So we have Saturn is trine Uranus in Taurus. So this is going to offer support to problem solving, and it's mature energy, forward thinking, progressive yet grounded energy, which might sound like an oxymoron. It's really not. It is conjunct with Neptune and Aries. So this might lead us to be a little overwhelmed by ideas and dreams. Might be a little challenging to get clarity at this time, but this energy is great to reinforce, helping us to reinforce healthy boundaries, all right? So Uranus, of course, I skipped one, sorry. Saturn is sextile Pluto in Aquarius. So this is actually going to help give us the ambition and the ability to do the hard work. This is ethical leadership is highlighted under this aspect, and also support for personal growth. All right, so Uranus, of course, still in Taurus, which, we talk about it all the time. Uranus is a little unstable energy, and Taurus, it's been kind of messing things up for a while now, but this sextile to Neptune is actually going to be a really good thing. This leads to imagination, and the intuition is highlighted, which is going to negate Uranus's sometimes disruptive energy. Okay, so it might feel a little challenging, but it's also, there's a lot of aspects and support to negate some of that disruption. There is a trine with Pluto and Aquarius here, so this is going to help facilitate necessary changes and improvements of self and community. So we are still challenging the status quo, but we're doing it from a place of wisdom and grounding under this energy, which is a really good thing. Neptune is in Aries. So Neptune is what, it rules Pisces, but with Neptune being in Aries, this is going to lead to warrior energy for new beginnings. Just watch out for misguided and just blind intensity, right? Just try to keep yourself grounded. With this sextile with Pluto, this is highlighting our need to be called to help others and using creative and artistic means to do so. There's a real determination here to help heal personal and societal wounds. So, and again, the way that this chart is aspected, there's real support to get this done. All right. And of course, Pluto is still in Aquarius, going to be for a while, just hanging out there, doing its own little thing. But all these different aspects with other planets to Pluto is where the real magic happens. Okay, guys. So the biggest challenge, again, we'll just go back to that, is that Jupiter squares Saturn. But it won't feel as harsh because there is a ton of creative and gentle, loving support of all the other aspects in this chart to work through the challenge of that, okay? It's a grateful moon, so work with emotions in a positive way. There is support and comfort in doing so. And the biggest thing also during this full moon phase, remember, it is the strawberry moon. My full moon blend is called Breathe. You need to stop and breathe and smell in the roses and, smell the strawberries, pick the strawberries, drink some strawberry wine. Whatever floats your boat, guys. Enjoy. Have a great week. Until next time.